The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
All righty, greetings everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Well, yeah, daily routine. It is Friday, the 26th of January, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Oslo and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in his news break. Folks, it's Friday. It is the end of the traditional work week. Friday. Before we get into anything, audience, did you have a good week? Did you have a good week? Good morning, says Karen Simmons. TDH family, happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Friday to you, and the same to you. Did you have a good week this week? How was your week, everyone? How was your week? I'm going to be honest with you. Some days, weeks, months, and years are the ones that define your life the most. I will say I had a very defining week. I had a very enjoyable week. And all I can do is thank the people in my life and around me for, the grace and the love that they give me. I love to hear this, Traveling Trotty. She says, I had an exceptional week. Blessed. How was your week, audience? We love to see that Traveling Trotty. Let's rub that off on everybody. Let's rub it off on everyone. How was your week? I like Traveling Trotty. I would say my week was exceptional. It's been a wonderful week. And Rosalind Famous says, it's been great. My birthday week. Well, you know what that means, Rosalind. We don't skip birthdays. And a happy birthday week to Rosalind Famous. Hope you had a wonderful birthday, had or have a wonderful birthday. And we are wishing you many, many, many more years of good health and happiness to you, Rosalind. So happy birthday, audience. Show Rosalind, like the TDH community, we are, show her some love on her birthday. I hope she's of age to watch this show. You got to be 18, Rosalind. You got to be 18. See how I try to get on her good side and suck up, folks? You got to do it every now and then. Teo taught me that back in the day. Blame him. Let's go to Suzanne Ingham says, every day is awesome. Yeah, and I like to hear that. Every day is awesome, she says. The only troubling thing for me was Malachi, just heartbreaking. We've got Sister Hunter on Instagram. She says, had a blessed week, had a great interview with the Daily Hour. Well, I'll tell you what, Sister Hunter, we had an awesome week because of your presence. Thank you, Sister Hunter, for coming on. And I'll tell you, by the response we got to Debbie Jones Hunter on across social media, Twitter, Instagram, all of it, I tell you, if this show does nothing else, we're going to celebrate, we're going to honor, and we are going to show out for Bermuda and Bermudians. And that was a reminder of why it's so important, because so many people just did not know. And we need to know. We need to know. You all one day are going to be able to go back in the archives of this show and say, I know I heard that on the Daily Hour one day. And you'll be able to go back because it'll all be on the internet. We're building something for you. You are a part of a community catalog. We've got our audience sending birthday blessings to you. Rosalind Karen Simmons says, happy birthday week, Rosalind. And Suzanne Ingham says, birthday, happy celebration. Adeline's the one, she said she had a peaceful week. A peaceful week. We love peace. We love peace. Audience, keep it coming. Let us know how your week went. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome no one. We're going to be discussing how we can turn cruise visitors into air travelers. That's something we need to do in Bermuda, right? How can we turn cruise visitors into air travelers? That's what we're going to be discussing today. The Daily Play is a things you should know. So, no co-host today, and just want to send a shout out and love to my colleagues who are recovering from sickness and illness right now. It's been a January for the TDH team, man. It's been a January, I tell you. But sending love to them. But no one's here, so someone will join Stacey Ann, Brown, Amber, and Kia BDA to see who wins this week's prize. Last week, Karen Simmons ran away with the victory. This week, we'll see who it's going to be. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve the community. All right, let's jump right into it. And another birthday greeting to Rosalind. Charmaine Richardson says, happy birthday, Rosalind. And Rosalind Famous says, thank you, TDH peeps. So let's jump into today's conversation. All right. We have this thing in Bermuda, right? We have this thing in Bermuda where we have, I guess the argument is cruise versus air travelers, right? That's what we're facing right now. Cruise versus air travelers. And Bermuda is expected to welcome 189 cruise stops in 2024. Now, I do believe we missed out on one earlier this month in January when something happened, bad weather or something like that. But the question of the morning is, what can we do to turn cruise visitors into air travelers in Bermuda? Like, what do you think has to happen? What do you think has to happen to turn cruise visitors into air travelers? Because we've seen the stats and the data. We've discussed the stats and the data, right? Where they've said to us, cruise visitors don't spend money. Well, I tell you this, there are a lot of entrepreneurs up dockyard making some good money off those cruise ships. You have the minibus drivers, you have the tour guides, you have the vendors. I think one of the issues is maybe we just have not evolved and done things differently to meet the new tourists where they are. Maybe Bermuda is not a destination where people want to come and stay anymore. Maybe it is a cruise destination where people would rather enjoy the cruise experience and get off as they please to go and explore Bermuda, like many of us do on Caribbean cruises. But what can we do to turn cruise visitors into air travelers? Like, do we need stalls up there in Dockyard or Hamilton to show people why it's better to come back? Okay, you've gotten the appetizer. Now, hey, come back and this is what you can enjoy without the rush of having to get back on a boat. What are your thoughts? Because if cruise ship passengers aren't spending any money in the island, that doesn't help any of us, right? How can we change our fortunes? Has anyone, let's put this out there. Has anyone in the audience ever been on a cruise? Has anyone in the audience been on a cruise before? Have you been on a cruise before? Have you been on a cruise vacation? Have you been on a cruise vacation? Yes or no? Have you been on a cruise vacation? Let's see what, make sure we're not ignoring people on Instagram. You know how they get. Okay, we've got Instagram so hard, but have you been on a cruise vacation? Traveling Trotty says many. Suzanne Ingham says yes, Bahamas. Charmaine Richardson says yes. Rosalind Famous says yes. Sherilyn Johnson says yes. Manuela John says yes. Leroy Hartman says yes. Marquita Lee says yes. Several. Yolanda Richards says yes. All right. Now, of the people, Shanna Smith says yes. Of the people who've been on cruise vacations, how many of you have gone on a cruise, visited someplace, and then said, you know what? I'm going back as an air traveler. Has anyone done that because they got an appetizer and now they wanted the main course? Has anyone done that? Has anyone done that? Yes or no? Have you gone back to visit? Have you gone back to visit a place you experienced on a cruise? Have you gone back to visit a place that you experienced on a cruise? Mark Arthur C. Phillips says yes, but not sure which question he's answering. Have you gone back to visit? Okay, so Yolanda Richards says no, she hasn't. Charmaine Richardson says about to. Well, Charmaine, what is that destination? What is that place that you went on a cruise vacation that you're about to go and visit? But also, why are you going to visit it? See, we're getting somewhere now, right? We're getting somewhere. Marquita Lee says no. Karen Simmons says yes, St. Lucia. Why did you go back to visit St. Lucia? Why did you do it? Sherilyn Johnson says, I want to, but sadly, I have not. Suzanne Ingham says, no, I would fly before a cruise. So she hasn't been on a cruise. Leroy Hartman says, no, she hasn't gone back to visit a place that she's been on a cruise. And Ebony Susan says, yes, she's been on a cruise, no to visit backs. Manuela John says, no. So, folks, see, we're getting somewhere. This is why we had these conversations. We're getting somewhere. We, all of us who've been on a cruise, well, I can't include myself in this, but those who have been on a cruise, I've been on a cruise, and have never been back to any of the places they visited, that's what Bermuda's experiencing. We're experiencing a new kind of visitor that just wants to come on a cruise. And that's for various reasons, because of the cost of vacationing in Bermuda, hotels and the like, right? So now the question of the morning is, what can we do? Like, what could those destinations that you went to on a cruise, what could those destinations have done to get you to come back to visit? That's what we need to figure out for our beloved island and country. Think about it. Charmaine Richardson says, there wasn't enough time, so we want to go back and enjoy the full experience. That's the number one reason. But see, Bermuda's different, because unlike many island Caribbean cruise vacations, you only spend 8 hours at the port. Bermuda, you're spending 2.5 days, right? Most of the time, overnighting at least. And so, is that enough time to really see everything? We have to ask ourselves that. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I've only been on one cruise, and the places that I did visit did not pique my interest to come back for an air visit. Interesting. Risalda Severance has never been on a cruise, no interest. You know what, Risalda Severance, I've been on a couple, but I don't like them personally. If I never went on another cruise again, I'd be okay. But if, someone, if I was invited or someone wanted to go, I would go, but I'm with you. I don't have any interest. And that's part of the reason we need to focus on air. Karen Simmons says, I wanted to take more time to have more experiences, food, culture, and relaxation. So I'm going to go on what Karen Simmons said. So she said St. Lucia. That's the island she went back to visit after going on a cruise. Folks, similarly, that's the only place I've gone back to visit that I went on a cruise to, St. Lucia. And I wanted to go back to St. Lucia because of the people in Bermuda that were from St. Lucia that I met. Various people. I have a big population of St. Lucians that I got to meet over the years. And also, I didn't get to really experience it either of the times I went on a cruise. So I got to go, and you guys know I'm not an outdoorsy kind of person. But what's that hang gliding in the like forest? What's that called again? I got to do that. I did some ATVs, obviously nothing in the water. Well, I went on a cruise thing, but I don't do those. What activity? But St. Lucia was one of the most beautiful places on those cruises that I just said, I want to experience this. I need to experience this. So that was an island that I went back to. Outside of that, I've never appealed. And I've been lucky. I've been lucky. Charles H. Jeffs II says maybe hotels could offer a free night with a minimum 3-night minimum if they fly within 18 months of their cruise. Maybe Bermuda Air could also partner. You have your thinking cap on, Brother Charles. You have your thinking cap on. I like that idea. But we have to offer something. The hotels maybe set up booths up at the port, right, in Dockyard, and say, look, hey, you want a cruise? Not enough time to enjoy Bermuda. Come back, enjoy us, and have a hotel airline package. Are we thinking like this? Are we thinking like this? Let me say this. You all know that I dislike the Bermuda government as much as anyone else, but I'll continue to say this, that many of the things that we face are on us as a community. I hit my sister up 2 weeks ago in my family chat group, and my niece turns 11 today. Happy birthday, Nyla. And I said, look, I want to see if we could get her up in, she got that entrepreneur in her. She didn't try. She sold me a bracelet because she makes bracelets, right? Over the first thing she asked, oh, that's going to be $3. Oh, I mean, I got to get the product first. But I noticed she's got this entrepreneur in her. So I said to my lady friend and my sister, I said, look, I have this idea to help us sell some things like food, maybe up Dockyard. So my then uncle put in the group, he said, look, here's the vendor license for Dockyard, whatever, it was some application. Why am I sharing that? Because we community-wise, I'm thinking, what value can we add to tourists to make them enjoy Bermuda a bit more, and how we can maybe have conversations, engage them, and get them to want to come back. So turning her on, putting her in that space, right, as a young person, getting them started early. She may start as a young vendor and realize this is the way she wants to go in some respect. But people will repeat. Think about where you shop, right? Why do you go back to these places? You either like the product or service, right? That's why people come back to experience things, right? We've got to put our thinking caps on. Again, Charles, I appreciate that. Let's go back to the comments. Taylor Dill says what Charles said. Yeah, we've got to think like that. We've got to think. Put some offers out there. Let's go to Instagram. Probably has some. We've got Bermuda Style Super Kite says, what is the average time a cruise stops over in Bermuda? I have this article up. Let's see. I think it's 2 days. Yeah, I believe it's 2 days, because this year we have, again, 189 stops, but I think that's 188 now because we missed out on one a couple weeks ago. But the average stop, I think, is 2 days to answer your question, but I stand corrected. Bermuda Style Super Kites. You all in these funny names. Suzanne Ingham says it was a rush, no time to really browse and get to enough shops or restaurants. Many cruise visitors in Bermuda don't have that problem for the most part. Rosalda Severin says, I haven't been on a cruise because I love to experience the culture of countries. I fly for that. How does that translate here? Woo, now we're getting somewhere. Look, even though cruises are docked in Bermuda for a day or two, even though, I still believe, I truly believe, that you will never, ever get to experience true Bermuda culture if you don't stay in Bermuda. I believe that, folks. Let me ask you, you've been on cruises. You all said you've been on cruises earlier. Do you really believe you got to experience the culture and embrace its people? When I went on cruises, went on land, probably spent about 5-6 hours. You feel rushed. You're not getting to, get into the people and its culture and even just going out to a restaurant. You may eat street food while you're on your tour or something like that, but are you really getting to enjoy? You may do an excursion here or there. It's rushed. Suzanne Ingham seems like she agrees with Charles H. Jefferson II. Airline hotel packages sound great. Alan Young says there's no reason for a cruise visitor to come back to Bermuda by air. Cruise is more cost effective to Bermuda because it has everything on board and overnights for more than a day. So if it's planned well, you can see most things in port. Yes, I'm a cruise junkie. But that's most islands, Alan Young. That's most islands. Cruises are going to be less expensive, more cost effective, regardless of where they're traveling. Yes, Bermuda has price issues, but that's regardless of where you're going. It's much more cost effective to go on a cruise to an island that probably doesn't have the wealth that Bermuda has. But again, you've been on cruises. I'll ask you the same question we asked earlier. Have you gone on a cruise to some place and then gone back to visit that place after? Alan Young says huge incentives would have to be in place. And again, I think that goes back to what Charles said. Sheikh says Bermuda is one of few cruise destinations where a ship stays overnight. Most destinations require the ship to leave in the late afternoon and evening. Bermuda hotels have time to promote. You know what Sheikha just did? She basically said, Sheikha, I'm sorry to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to do it. I'm like that. She said the hotels need to get up off their asses and do some work. That last part, Bermuda hotels have time to. You've got people there longer than any other place. Think about it. Bermuda's out in the Atlantic on its own. They're not rushing to another island, I've said this a couple times this week. We have got to stop acting like someone's coming to save us. We've got to stop acting like someone or something is coming to save us. Be it the hotels, airlines, we, Bermudians, even vendors, we need to do something to get people back after they visit. Ebony Souza says, I think we need a wow factor or a local vendors market in every single parish while offering a more rigorous public transport scheduling routes. See, she's talking. Do we even have the infrastructure? We know we don't have the hotels, right? But do we even have the infrastructure? Suzanne Ingham says, absolutely not enough time, rushed when she was visiting those islands. But do we have the infrastructure to even welcome these people back to Bermuda? Do we have the infrastructure? Alan Young says, never been back to a place where I've cruised. I would need an incentive like an event or cultural experience. Folks, this is an awesome conversation. Awesome conversation. And I really do hope that those who can make decisions to improve things, listen to what you're saying. Take heed. We know Bermudians are great travelers. We've had some people in the audience, Karen Simmons, Charmaine Richardson, Sarah Lynn Johnson, Traveling Trotty, Alan Young, all of you. You've spoken about how you travel. You've shared your travel stories. Some of you have been back to places you've been on cruises. Some of you haven't. You are a case study for Bermuda's situation too, believe it or not. Those who are in decision-making positions need to consider all opinions. But if the goal is to get heads in beds, first, we need to make sure we have enough beds. Because one cruise probably has more beds than all the hotels in Bermuda, if we're honest. The way they're building them these days. What's that new one? Icon of the Seas? Is that it? I think Royal Caribbean just had another big one, biggest cruise in the world. Ain't that something? A cruise ship probably has more hotel like beds than Bermuda. That's insane, man. That's insane. That's insane. We've got to figure something out. We're going to continue this conversation. Going to bring Teo Dillon for the Daily Hour news break. But we've got to do something. And I want to touch on the environmental impact of cruises, because someone mentioned it. I want to touch on that. I have not criticized cruises this morning, which I'm trying to be very neutral. But I have my reasons for choosing air travel over cruises. Let's bring Teo Dillon for the Daily Hour news break. Stick with us. We're going to continue this conversation. Oh, and Maya's doing something really cool, folks. I'll tell you about that too.
Good morning, Jay. Morning, everybody. Very glad and grateful to be able to spend some time with you this morning. Jamel, I know that you think I'm, broadly speaking, an inadequate person. Wait, that wasn't meant to be funny. I'm upset with you.
No, it's just when you think I have these opinions about you, but go ahead.
But there is in one way in particular that I am genuinely the worst Bermudian I've ever met. That is to say, I have never been on a cruise. Not once.
Well, Teo,
not only that, I have no interest.
But Teo, we had a few of those in the audience. We had a few of them. And
who? I looked. I don't think anybody's. Who said no? Oh, no, Miss Severin. Yes, Dr. Severin. Well, she is a wise woman of discernment and judgment.
We had a few more no's. We had a couple no's, but she was very forthcoming with it. But no, Tay, I said it. I said I've been on 2 cruises. One was my aunt's 50th birthday in 1999, and then the other was with the elderly folks. I don't mean to call the outfit, but the
singers
name of the group. I went with them. It was my grandmother and Mike Weeks's late mother, like all the elderly folks back in 2009. And I share that because it was never like me and a group of friends or something. It's not my kind of vacation, and I'm not crapping on anyone by saying this.
No, it's not a diss. No. Like I get the appeal. It's just not appealing to me.
It's not for me. I've always said that. Like I said that anyone I'm with, I would prefer not to. Like if you want to, I can suck it up probably for a day or two. But it's not my kind of thing. So don't feel bad. Yes, you are abnormal in many other ways. But
yeah.
We'll leave that. I'm more abnormal than you, but you get my point.
No, I'm winning an abnormality contest hands down. I bet a stack.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, as far as the news are concerned today, the BPS are investigating a possible firearms incident at a home and dockyard that is believed to have taken place yesterday afternoon. A BPS rep shared that it took place just after 2 p.m., with initial information suggesting an unknown man entered a private residence and brandished what was believed to be a firearm. The suspect then left and is believed to have done so on a waiting motorcycle, accompanied by another man. A search of the Somerset area began right after, with particular focus being paid to the Dobbs Valley area due to suggestions that a motorcycle linked to the incident was seen in that space. Anyone with any information about this incident is urged to call the police on 211. Now, Jay, you remember this week's massive kerfuffle at the Fairmont Southampton free furniture giveaway?
Yeah.
When predictably huge crowds turned out, and surprisingly / confusingly, organizers seem to have been prepped for like a church bake sale level of interested patrons. Well, the property owners learned that they need to properly recalibrate their expectations for attendance for an event like this, and as such will take a little bit more time to plan it so it runs properly. A Fairmont spokesperson apologized for the inconvenience caused by the postponement, saying the decision, quote, stems from the hotel's desire to better reach and serve those in genuine need while maintaining a safe and orderly event. Thanks to our friends at Burn News for providing the wonderful B-roll footage. Updated deets for the event should be available next Monday, when you can check FairmontSouthamptonBermuda.com or the hotel's social media platforms to learn the necessary whens and whats.
Okay.
Now,
can I say something? You know what? It was a crap show when you saw it. The video.
Yeah.
It was a crap. Yeah. But I'm gonna give props where it's due. None of us is perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
They realized it was a crap show,
and they called it. Well done. That's an important point to underline,
folks. I'm no friends. Gen Com ain't no friends of me. I ain't no friend to this situation. But all I'm saying is sometimes you got to admit you got it wrong, and don't go back and try to do it just because you said you're going to do it until you know you can do it right.
Yeah, man. That is genuine wisdom. Like the initial decision to organize it in the way that they did, that continues to be difficult to understand. But the fact that they quickly moved, like, all right, this ain't working. Sorry, y'all. I know you're gonna be mad, but we will get this right, and hopefully we can make it up to you. Yeah. So I'm grateful they took that decision as well. Yeah. Now, in other hospitality related news, Bermuda's first ever airline is running a pretty tasty looking seat sale for their 2 new routes to the East Coast. Bermuda Air's seat sale includes one-way fares from as low as $99 from any of the 5 U.S. locations. That's Baltimore, Boston, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Westchester County in New York, and one-way fares from Bermuda to those destinations from as low as $199. This means you could get to and from the U.S. for close to $300, since the prices do include the base fare, government, and state taxes and airport fees. Now, there's some other charges you might get, but that's the big ones. That feels like a relatively decent price. The deal is valid for bookings made until Wednesday, February 7th, and trips taken by Tuesday, April 30th.
I rate it, man. I just want to see the airline succeed. You know, we're talking about cruises to air. I like Charles' suggestion, as you did earlier. Maybe Bermuda Air and the hotels working together to get people on these flights. So all the best to them with these airline sales. I'm going online immediately following the show.
Well done. That's why I mentioned it, because I hope folks support the airline. If it wins, we win. Yeah. Now, Jay, this is a rhetorical question, not just for you, but for the entire audience. Have you ever complained about your internet speed?
No, I haven't been in the U.S., bro. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as everybody knows, we here in Bermuda have had some challenges over the years. And in fact, the DH Crew are a live streaming show largely based here in Bermuda. So, yeah, we've all had problems in the space. You have seen and heard some of those hiccups. Well, here is something that sounds very, very interesting. Bermuda's newest internet provider, Paradise Mobile, is claiming that their service should be 20 times faster than their competitors' average speeds because of the new type of tech that they're deploying. It's coming from the Paradise CEO, Sam Tabar, who said their 5G network, due to their Open Radio Access Network System, or OpenRAN, currently runs at 1 gigabit per second and should hit 2 gigabits per second in the next few months. This is why this matters. AdvancedTelevision.com reports that as of last year, the average internet speed in Bermuda is just below 100 megabits per second. Now, this sounded incredible / implausible to me, so decided to dig up an explanation of why and how an Open RAN network can be such a game changer for internet speeds.
RAN generally requires unified hardware and software across an entire mobile site. OpenRAN, however, enables all RAN software and hardware components to be built to industry-wide specifications, allowing for a disaggregation of hardware and software and facilitating interoperability. OpenRAN is cloud-based and software-defined, therefore reducing the complexity of managing and maintaining a network while providing greater flexibility.
Teo, who do you have as your internet provider?
One.
All right.
I've been over everybody over the years.
Let's do something. I just shared the link with you in the chat.
Yeah.
There.
Oh,
I'm going to share my screen. All right. And we're going to see what my internet speed is and what yours is.
Oh, God.
Let's do this.
Really?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's have some more fun with the audience. Let's have some fun. All right.
All right.
I'm going to share.
I do this like every day.
I got mine up. Let's do it. All right. Okay. So let's see what my internet speed is versus what Teo's is. All right.
All right. Hold on.
Let's see.
Oh man.
I'll take it on.
You hurt my feelings, bro.
It's not faster than mine. Who knows?
It's not though. It's not. Mine topped out at 87.44 down. And today's a pretty good for the up. I'm at around 60, 68.
You said it was what?
87.
Download?
Yeah.
All right, folks. And you've got One Communications.
Yep. And broadly speaking, I'm happy with it. Like they've been really responsive on fixes when I've had problems and da. But this is why I decided to,
What was your upload?
Like 67, which is strong today.
Well, mine is only 10. So audience,
well done one.
My download speed is 452.58. What was yours, Taylor?
Mine was 87.44.
My upload's 10.81. What's yours?
67.18.
Okay. So I'm whooping your ass in one way and you're kicking me in the other.
Yeah. I'm genuinely surprised it went that way.
Folks,
Well,
this was not planned, but if you want the link to test your internet speed, just reach out to me. I will send it to you. And you can find out if your provider is giving you what you're paying for. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Send me an email, Jamal@BermudaCommunications.com, and I will send you a link so you can test your internet speed.
Yeah, I've been using that specific service, and you can trust that it's not going to be farming your cookies or stealing your passwords, anything like that. Like, this is a totally legit site. Yeah. And as an internet obsessive, I've been using it for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting thing to do. It's worth your time. Now,
Terray wants to know, can you explain what it means, what we just shared, the speeds?
Oh, the OpenRAND thing. Okay, so basically, the preceding method of internet delivery was only available to people who could buy the bespoke, unique hardware and software solutions that were made by a really short list of providers to basically set up everything on the front, middle, and back end. This OpenRAND system is like open source, basically. So instead of having to rely on tech on every level of the supply chain that is made by a really short list of suppliers where, they just go mass, which means that they got to shave off some of the higher tech options to maintain prices and da. The OpenRAND system means that you can basically put together your internet delivery pipe using whatever you want, like whatever software, like whatever combination of pieces. And the advantage of that is that it allows them to customize the entire thing and bump up the speeds, but also reduce the costs by sourcing the hardware from different spaces. And it lowers the bar for entry into the marketplace, which means more competition shows up, which in principle should always reduce prices. So,
okay. Terray, don't ask Teo any more questions about technology, because when you get geek, it's like it makes me have to think a bit more.
Right? I thought he wanted to know. I was trying to explain to him. Sorry.
You get to talk and you make me think a bit harder. Like, okay, what else you got for us?
All right. Well, this is the finally in today's newscast. The world's most famous confirmed sex pest testified in the second defamation trial against his victim for continuing to deny the sexual assault that was confirmed by a jury last spring. Donald Trump took the stand in the second trial brought by writer E. Jean Carroll, and his testimony was very different from his typically wobbly stream of consciousness style of public address. Now, the judge only allowed Trump's lawyer to ask 3 questions, and most of his answers were stricken from the record after the first few words. That is, when he said yes or no. Everything up after that, the judge wouldn't have it because he was disinterested in Trump's nonsense that's been ongoing through the collection of court trials he's facing. But interestingly, one of the things that the judge was not having was Trump continuing to deny the sexual abuse allegations that were established to be true in last year's trial, which is textbook irony, since Trump continuing to make these denials publicly after being found liable for the abuse last spring and being hit with a $5 million judgment last year are precisely why he's being sued again. Now, interestingly, this is my favorite part of the story. This entire thing was kind of sort of predicted in the late 90s by one of the key participants in this trial.
Did you ever have a flicker when you're taking a shower, walking to work, or waking up in the morning where you said, Donald Trump, you've won every battle you've ever fought. Why don't you run for governor? Why don't you run for president? Did you ever think about that?
People want me to all the time.
What about you?
I don't like it.
Why?
Can you imagine how controversial I'd be? You think about him with the women. How about me with the women?
You know,
I just love that.
When Donald Trump said he could grab him, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot about not him, but the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Like it or not, Donald Trump may be a felon come November. He will be the United States president.
Man,
And the Democrats only have themselves to blame, because at the end of the day, as I was saying to someone last night, I voted once in this country, and I think if you don't ever receive a ballot, you would only think it's those two people running. But the fact the two people with the most money that you hear about are two elderly white men who both are not in their right heads, you're giving people no choice. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people don't care about this kind of stuff when it comes to Donald Trump. What they care about, if you listen to them, is the number one thing that Bermudians seem to care about right now, and that's the economy. And they believe that this man, I've been to conferences, and all they do is speak up Donald Trump about the economy. They literally put this stuff aside as if it doesn't matter. That's what they care about, the economy. They don't care about liberalism and like gender rights and race and all that. They only care about the economy. And as long as he is seen as the economic savior, I'm not quite sure Joe Biden taking fried chicken to black people's houses and telling them what he's done for them is going to work out.
Did Joe do that?
He took Cookout to the house.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I blame his staff.
So Ray, sister, I will bet you Donald Trump's president by the end of this year. Same way nobody wanted to bet me in 2016. The only way what you always got to remember, they've stacked the deck for him to win at this point too.
Yeah.
Gerrymandering that has taken place in different states, you all better pay attention. It's a lot. Like, I pay attention. The gerrymandering of how they restructured in Alabama, like Florida. Florida was never a Republican state. Let's be clear.
No, it's been purple for, I guess, most of our adult lives.
Like, yeah, you all better. Hey, there's a lot of gerrymandering, so it's set for him to win. Remember, he doesn't need the popular vote to win. In 20,
he couldn't get the popular vote.
Yeah, so you all got to be understand. Elections are not won, they're lost, and the Democrats are doing everything possible to lose it. At the end of the day, we may dislike them, but go see what Black America's saying. I mean, I'm talking about Black America. I'm not talking about Jamal Hartman. I'm not.
No. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
About the ADOS, the FBA people. These folks, if they ain't Oprah or in the media, if they ain't liberal, they ain't feeling none of the candidates, and they've been very vocal about it. And guess who's going to take the blame when Joe Biden don't win?
Black folks.
You bet your boots.
Yeah. Even though in the last election, the key demographic in the U.S. electorate that basically secured the win for Joe Biden was, as is always the case, Black women, right?
And
lock that thing down.
Trump secured the vote. It was the opposite. White women. Anyway, we've got to continue the show. Why are we talking about Donald and Joe?
Because I like reminding everyone that every opportunity I can that he is the world's most famous sex pest. And that's not just me saying that. That is what has been confirmed in court last year. He's being sued again for denying that he's not liable for the sexual assault a jury said that he was and charged him $5 million for. So yeah, Donald Trump is the world's most famous sex pest. Everybody needs to, if you think of him, think of sex pest. Like that's my community service for the day.
I'll end it on this one that I was saying to a colleague the other day. She mentioned, she brought up politics, because I don't talk about politics with people at work. Just don't know where they feel. And she said, black person, she said, I wouldn't mind him as president again. My concern is how extreme he's going to be this time around. I said, oh, that should be everyone's concern. He said he wants to be a dictator for a day. He did.
No, he said he wants to be a dictator. Then he says, for a day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for putting it.
And like winked. Right. I think the implication of the joke was, if I decide to be a dictator, it's not just going to be for a day.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, look,
that's what he thinks the presidency should be.
But you want to bet me? You want to place a bet on the show?
No, but not because I honestly do not think that Trump's going to lose. I'm still at this moment, based on all the available data, I believe Biden's going to pull it off. Okay. However, if I lose that bet, I'm the money that I lose is not even. I'm not even gonna be thinking about it if I lose that bet with you. I'm gonna be like, I have an American wife, I have American in-laws, I got American family, and these are all Black folks and people of color largely. The consequences of a Trump 2.0 in the presidency, in the White House, are genuinely terrifying for the future of the developed world.
You know,
Like he is cracking our relationship with reality. He's cracked relationship with reality, and that's horrifying.
I was watching the Breakfast Club had Piers Morgan on, and you know Piers Morgan and Donald.
Mm-hmm.
And Piers Morgan said to Charlemagne, because Charlemagne also said he's not voting Biden, right? He's
no,
a Black American, South Carolina, but he said something, and he's right. And this is what Americans care about. Taylor just said he's a sex pest. We know this. In most spaces, that'd be unacceptable. He wouldn't be able to have a job, whatever. But alas, that's Donald Trump. But what Americans seem to care about supersedes all of that. They think economy. They think the president determines the gas price. They think the president determines their job and their pay. They tie that to their president.
Mm-hmm.
They believe that Donald Trump is the person who can help them with money in their pocket. That's the American way. That's the way their capitalism works.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as they think that, and honestly, I've been in this country 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say, under Republican presidents, just like under UBP, let's not act like it's because of the president. It's because of the donors. The donors. If the donors control the economy, all right, we're going to help the president. Let's pull back this. Let's pull back that. Let's imagine that. It's so much more to it, is it not?
Yeah. What's even more frustrating in the U.S. is that, and this has been borne out basically ever since the death of Kennedy and the creation of the Great Society, like LBJ, Democrats have a stronger record on economic development than Republicans, whereas Republicans have a worse record on deficit spending and ramping up the national debt and but their reputations are completely opposite. It's almost like Labor and the conservatives in the UK. Like the conservatives leave at least for our adult lives, they leave the public finances in a worse place than when they got there, and Labor or the Democrats tend to make things better economically for the country. But that nobody thinks that. Everybody thinks that the conservatives like to save money, be responsible stewards, but it's not actually true. Like it ain't real, but this is what people believe.
There's one thing, and probably one thing I agree with Joe Biden on, is I think the way the conservatives work is they don't mind socialism, but only for the rich. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, you're right.
We literally turned this into a Donald Trump, Joe Biden conversation. We got to have more of these because this is an election year. But folks, we've got to take a break. Oh, well, I haven't done days of the year. You know what the day of the year is, hey?
I was going to say January 26th, but you laughed at me yesterday when I did something similar, so I will not contribute. I don't know.
Look, it's Fun at Work Day. Fun at Work Day.
Okay, cool.
Fun at Work Day. So, Teo, audience, what kind of fun do you enjoy with your colleagues? Like, do you enjoy going out to eat, games night, scavenger hunts? Like, what fun do you look like? Like, what does fun look like for you at work?
Honestly, and Jay, I'm sure you'll be able to confirm that this is true. The thing that I find most satisfying at work is being able to talk with the really cool, bright, interesting people that I work with, not necessarily related to our day-to-day professional obligations, like getting to know one another and just share like our lives with one another like that. I think that's really, really satisfying. And I hope everybody has at least one person that they work with that they have that kind of relationship with.
Indeed. No, I was spoiled. When I went back to Bermuda 2007 and was working at Inter-Island Communications, I couldn't have been lucky enough to work with a better group of people. Nikita came on board, Christy Bang. We fought like cats and dogs, but Christy, like it was a great
ball.
It was a great team. And so from that, I thought this is how all jobs were going to be. And they weren't. As I went through life, I realized that I'm not going to find that environment, but what I can do is create that environment. And so with the TDH team and the VCG team, sometimes I will take my own money and take us out to eat. That's something I love to do with people I work with. We've done a lot of fun activities. We went to the broadcasting conference last year, Maya, myself, and stuff like that. So let's learn together. Let's eat together, because I love to eat. And hey, Larry has this crazy idea about us running a relay for Bermuda Day, but I know who will be cheering on the sideline versus who will be actually jogging in the race. All right.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, it won't be me. Real quickly, what we were saying, she says businesses in the U.S. decide when to hold back and when to expand based on the party in power, the Fortune 500. And that's the point I was making. They run the economy. And so, again, who are they donating to? That's who they're going to pull back for. And we know who they're donating to. Fun at work, Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, not being at work is fun at work day. All right, folks, take a quick break. Don't forget, we've got a giveaway coming up, and it's got some things. You have a great weekend.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. See you next week.
All right, thank you. All right, so folks,